Hey guys, how you doing? Welcome back to the Non-Van Art Fan. I wanted to start off and thank you guys for following the video and the views. The likes, the comments really helps. I appreciate you guys liking this content. Someone told me that the van videos seem somehow more passionate than my home studio recordings. It's kind of funny. But yeah, thank you guys for being here. What I wanted to talk about today, there's been a lot of excitement, a lot of stuff going on with the anticipation of the Gothic set, which will be coming out sometime later this year. The company says we don't know the exact date just yet, so we'll kind of see how that plays out. But what is going to happen is we're going to have Dragonlord here very soon. The Dragonlord mini set by Ed Bear Jr. And if you don't know, the Dragonlord mini set is really, if you think about it, decades in the making. The origins of the Dragonlord mini set is that this is Ed Bear Jr.'s magnum opus, so to speak, of his 47-year career. I think he told me it was 47 years, which is incredible. Longer than a lot of us have been alive. He's been at the brush, painting god-tier dragons especially, but really there's nothing he can't do. And this was a concept he had many, many, many moons ago. He's been on my channel a few times talking about this. You've seen him on the Sorcery community group and on my dedicated channel in the Collector Art House Discord, talking with fans and giving us some context. And this story dates back many, many years, and he's going to have this Dragonlord product outside of Sorcery that includes a book, really, that is like kind of again, like a magnum opus of his career. It's going to pull from all walks and different projects, walks of life and different projects he's done over the years, Sorcery and beyond. We're really going to hear the lore, the context, the stories of his Dragonlord concept, which again is something he's honed for, I think he said a couple decades. And I think is that what he said? I'm forgetting the detail. I forget everything these days, guys. There's just so much going on. I'm at my capacity limit. But this has been many, many years in the making, let's say. He's had this story of the Dragonlord. You'll have to go to my interview with him to really get the full context of this. But he's had this story, but he hasn't really had the mechanism, or I guess like perhaps a reason or a motivation. Like, there's an opportunity cost of time, right? So to invest this amount of time to do this many original paintings for a project like this had to take something extremely special like Sorcery to come along and Eric's vision to include kind of this mini set concept, right? He reached out to Eric and he was interested in him painting some dragons for the set. Eric's a big fan. He grew up with Ed's artwork, like many of us did. And here he had this story that they adapted for the purposes of Sorcery. So, it's a marriage of two brilliant creative minds, in Eric and Ed, coming together to translate this story or tell this story through Sorcery. So, I'm really excited to find out how Ed's original story was kind of blended and married up with the context of Sorcery Contested Realm from a experiential, in-play narrative type point of view, right? Like we have these existing few sets of Sorcery so far, and now we're going to inject these new cards into the existing card set, and they have context outside of the game, right? So they're going to be married up with the other mechanics and synergies within the contested realm story realm, right? So that's gonna be super cool. I think it's gonna be really great to see the titles of the cards, the art paired with the titles, the type line text, the game mechanic, perhaps flavor text. I don't know. Like, I don't know. I don't know that I've heard anything about flavor text, or I don't recall if there was flavor text on the spoiler cards. But something to be really cool is if there were passages from Ed's book or story, where he came up with the flavor text to kind of match the character, or the setting, or the scene. Yet to be seen, because a lot of these cards have not been spoiled yet. Only a few have. So there's a lot to come, guys, and it's coming very quick at Gen Con. But the other point of this video is I think the Dragonlord mini set is going to be the most collectible thing that has been introduced from Sorcery since Alpha, right? And a lot of like my haters and people, they're just super toxic on the internet. This always happens. They're like, "Oh, Mike, you shilling bastard. You're always pumping stuff, pumping dumb, pumping dumb." Doesn't even make sense, right? All I am is really super passionate about Sorcery and artists and advocating for artists, and that's how I enjoy the project, right? I'm also an event organizer for the sorcery community and stuff. So I put a lot of energy and passion into the game because I freaking like it and I love art, right? So I'm really excited about Dragon Lord. But why is it most collectible? Well, I've talked about in the past how I thought alpha was very collectible and valuable, two different things. Anything is collectible, certain things are valuable. If they have rarity, if there's enough demand to exceed supply, that's ultimately what drives value typically. But I think it's going to be both collectible and valuable because well, let me start with alpha, right? So, and I'll build up to it. With alpha, we knew the exact print run because it came out with Kickstarter and they announced what the print run was from Kickstarter. When they went to beta and Arthurian Legends, there were multiple waves of product introduced to the market, and both are still available to this day. Beta's been out for quite a while now, and Arthurian Legends as well, really. Although not as long, right? Just came out last year. But beta's been in circulation for a long time. There's been a steady flow of it, steady availability through Team Covenant. There's been multiple waves that stores and retailers have sold. I understand it was erratic and more scarce in some markets, especially in Europe. But in the US, it's almost always been available. There was this instance in time where it sold out with Team Covenant. Prices kind of spiked a little bit, and people were like, oh, maybe this is it. I think the Team Covenant guys said they didn't know if or when they were ever going to get more. It turns out there was more, another wave three, I guess, and they've had that for a while that you can order. So, it's fairly heavily printed relative to where we are in the game, the growth trajectory, supply and demand. Prices have been stable; they haven't gone nuts because it's still out there, right? And we don't know how long it's going to be. So I always felt that alpha, it was a finite print run. We knew the print run. It was print to demand essentially at that early nascent phase of the game where the game was very, very niche. Like any indies, it tends to be very not well known, and you go to Kickstarter to get that initial advertising and push, and maybe the project becomes something, maybe it flops. But Sorcery did tremendously well, so a lot of people came in for beta. Um, it's been around for a couple years now, so I think it's been a couple years, has it? Again, time flies. I forget everything. But it's been out there for a while, readily available. In Arthurian Legends, same story. So these sets seem to me to be the augmentation of the initial release, the push of new supply to meet new demand, and a lot more was likely printed. You can infer because a lot more is available for a much more extended period of time, and people have come into the game, and Sorcery has grown, right? So I always thought it was more of like a player set, right? That's how I always viewed beta. Like I didn't expect it to be scarce, to go out of print within a year or right at the 1 year mark when Arthurian Legends came out. That never made sense to me because I always thought people would want to have the new set Arthurian Legends and then go back to the original set beta as new people come into the game, have that amazing box opening experience that we had with beta, and just discover that set. And like I understand the other argument collectors say, you can go buy singles pretty cheaply on eBay or TCG Player for single sellers or whatever. A lot of supply is out there. It's reflected in the pricing. But nothing matches the box open experience, and then stores want to have boxes to sell in store to do draft play format, all these types of things, right? So I always thought that beta and Arthurian Legends would be much more heavily printed, and I viewed it more as a player set, or because that was like the focus, right? And then Arthurian Legends was actually designed to be a draftable set. So in the purest sense, that is a player set, right? And certainly it has collectability within it. It has the gilded cards, the curios. Beta had curios, just like Alpha. And there's collectability and rarity. The foils are very rare. It's all baked into the set, right? So I think Eric's Curiosa tried to find that balance where they had it available for players, but within it they had extreme rarity and scarcity in the curios and in the foils, to kind of preserve value of those sets, even though they had to print it a lot to meet the growth in player base and collector base. But now, when we go to Dragon Lord mini set, here's the hot take, right? Here's the hot take, guys. I think this is going to be a one-time print, finite print run, and the first set since Alpha to sell out. I think every box is going to be sold, and it's going to be out of print. It's not going to be once. I don't know. We don't even know how they're selling it as of the recording of this video. We know it's going to be at Gen Con, and then it's going to be. There's a lot of speculation that maybe it's going to be sold through Cardi.io. which seems to be the supplier for the dust store items and the store page, where you could go buy binders and t-shirts and hoodies and things like that, right? So the speculation is maybe that's a whole nother video, right? Like, should you leverage stores? Is it kind of odd? We're 5 weeks out. We don't even know how this is going to be sold. Are stores going to be cut out from this opportunity? Will the stores be able to buy from Cardi.io and then sell to players? Will it be sold direct through Cardi and also to innkeepers? Innkeepers are stores that back the Kickstarter pledge. A lot of speculation on that. There's been a lot of talk in Collector Art House Discord about um, what might happen here in terms of distribution, and then how it might be similar or different for Gothic. But my point is, I think Dragonlord mini set does not need to be heavily printed like Beta and Arthurian Legends. I think it's going to be more collectible in a way, because I think it'll be a lower print run, so perhaps more valuable and collectible. You can debate whether, valuation equates to collectability, but you get what I'm saying, right? So I think that's going to be a factor, because you don't have to print a ton of this, right? Everyone that buys the box kits, one pack, you're going to have all of the cards you need to play very easily, right? You don't have to buy tons of this to play the game. So they don't need to go nuts printing it. And Sorcery at this juncture is still pretty niche, pretty small, right? So the smart play, in my opinion, is to treat it like a premium product. That's how I think Eric views all of Sorcery. It's putting all this time and energy. These sets are coming out once a year, but they are years in the making. The paintings have taken years. Ed took over a year to paint these. As I recall, he's been painting for like 2 years on this, and the paintings have been done for a long time. So at this point, it's been more about the logistics of playtesting and, fine tuning the cards and getting them printed and distributed. And, maybe they wanted to kind of marry that up with Gen Con. Ed Bear Jr. is going to be at Gen Con after not being there for many, many years. So that's like a big promotional marketing opportunity. And Ed's, a great salesman and very charismatic. So he's the perfect person to have at the booth at Gen Con, creating a lot of buzz and drawing people into the table at Sorcery. Um, so I think that's the key, man. I don't think there's a reason to really go nuts printing this one. Not in the same way as Beta and Arthurian Legends. And I think Beta and Arthurian Legends are going to stick around, and they're still going to be around after Gothic, because I think once again, they're expecting a big growth catalyst in Gothic to bring people in, the new tournament scene that they rolled out, more marketing efforts they've been doing recently, all those types of things that kind of draw people into the game. I think into that growth, they're still going to want Beta and Arthurian Legends to be available. So I don't see those going out of print like some collectors want. I don't see a declared out of print happening on that. So I don't see wild price appreciation going on with those anytime soon, right? And a lot's been printed, so I think that'll kind of suppress it too, unless they have wild success and growth, whether that be near term or longer term. Perhaps that could be a catalyst eventually, to help those products from a collector valuation perspective. But with Dragon Lord, again, I don't think there's any reason to go nuts printing this one. I think they're going to treat it as a premium product in between the sets, you know, suppress the print rate to kind of like try to marry it up or approximate it. This is what I would do. I would try to approximate the current size of the market and only print equivalent to your estimated size of the market. Plus, if you want to go over that, plus maybe 25% or something modest, 25%, maybe 50% above your estimated current market size if you're super bullish and confident in growth in the next 1 to 2 years. And then that will make this product pretty scarce, and you're going to find that it's going to go out of print. And I think that will really help the whole Sorcery ecosystem. If you see the Dragonlord mini set do well, and even at first, if it's just like around that MSRP pricing, whatever the company prices it at, whatever Ed prices it at with the 700 units that he's going to get and offer, signed, serialized with the art card options if you choose that. I think we're going to find that there's going to be high demand, because think about it. I think most people are going to buy like a few of these, at least one to play with or just have fun opening, whether you're a player or not, and one to display as a sealed product. And then some will buy like a bunch, right? and either speculate on it or, or whatever. There's always people that are going to like hoard a bunch or just open a bunch, maybe sell singles, do whatever. I think this is going to sell out, guys. I think it's going to sell out in a reasonable amount of time. I think it's going to surprise people. And the aspect of surprise is what creates value in markets. That's one of the factors. Nostalgia is a factor, demand exceeding supply. These are all factors. And I think a lot of these core ingredients are going to be very positive catalysts for Dragonlord. Again, I'm speculating. I don't know a damn thing. They could go buck wild and print like 300,000, like some people say for some of these prior sets, right? Or whatever, 200,000, 300,000. Who the hell knows? Mini set, no reason to. I don't expect it to, and I'm just very bullish on it. I just think there's going to be demand. I think the art's going to really wow people. A lot of people have not even seen the art. If you're in Ed's Patreon, you've seen him paint it live, which is incredible. But people's minds are going to be blown by the artistic quality of this. And I think the foils, what if it has the special foil treatment that we just saw with the King Arthur promo card? What is the Eric always has some wild creative wrinkle, right? What if there's a wild curio? What if there's I think there's going to be extreme rarity in the foils within the packs. You only get one foil per pack. So again, that's another very interesting wrinkle within this. And I think ultimately it's going to be print run. It's going to be it going out of print that surprises people. And I just feel good about this one. I think it's a great set for the timing as we're waiting on Gothic, and in Gothic just looks so sweet with all the reveals and spoilers and the new mechanics. I'm really optimistic about the end of this calendar year, and then I want to see you know Eric's Curiosa really lean in, go to a lot of events next year, cons, conventions, introduce this game to new people, bring them into the sorcery realm, and hopefully we'll have a very positive year ahead. So thanks again, guys, for your interest and always tuning into the channel. Please like and subscribe. I love when you leave me comments. I'm very interested to hear what you think about how the Dragonlord mini set will perform. What do you think about my theory that it'll be modestly printed and that it'll sell out sooner than you think, and that will be a catalyst. Um, Appreciate it, guys. Talk to you soon. I'm trying to line up a live Friday night. Don't know if it's going to happen or not, but we'll see what we can do. I usually go live almost every Friday night. Tune in. Take care. See ya.